In the seven Gitas that pioneered counseling, one of the most important Gitas that is least understood or nearly forgotten is the Ashtavakra Gita. The Ashtavakra Gita is remarkable for several reasons. If you look at the Gita, the counselee is a 45-year-old king, Janaka of Mithila, and the person who is counseling the king is a 13-year-old boy named Ashtavakra. Now, for various reasons, this is an unusual Gita and it actually declutters the idea of a sage in many ways. How is it that a 45-year-old king agrees to be counseled or to be taught by a 13-year-old boy? Is it even humanly possible? How is it that a 13-year-old boy addresses a 45-year-old king as a son? In many ways, what this Gita teaches is a remarkable and a true sense of knowledge and wisdom, which is not limited by space and time. You don't have to grow old and have gray beards and white hairs to become a sage in truest of sense. Being a sage is about establishing in wisdom and having substantial knowledge that is in touch with reality. The most important thing which a person yearning for knowledge and wisdom, as well as those established in knowledge and wisdom, must have is a sense of humility. Vidya dadati vinayam. In today's world, if there is anything but very nominal about the so-called realized sages and the gurus of today, is the arrogance. The idea that they are greater than the common people, the people are below them and that they are above them, proves that they are not real sages. And that is why they will never speak about the Ashtavakra Gita. And if they do, they speak of it in a pretty unreal sense. The name Ashtavakra suggests that it is about a boy who has 8 deformities. And these deformities are about the joints at the shoulder, hip, legs, as well as the toes. These 8 deformities made Ashtavakra look a bit detestable. And when he went to the Janaka Sabha or the royal court of Janaka for the debate, everybody started laughing at him. And after everyone stopped laughing, Ashtavakra said, we looked at them and he started laughing at him. When Ashtavakra started laughing at him, Janaka rose from his seat, went to Ashtavakra and he asked him, "Why are you laughing at us?" And Ashtavakra said, "O King Janaka, I thought I will come to a great court where people will be interested in knowledge and talk about the greater secrets about life and the consciousness. Here I see that people are judging me by my exteriors. This is like an assembly of cobblers, because only cobblers judge things by the exteriors. If you do not have, if you want to understand knowledge, you need to understand the significance of what lies within the mind and the consciousness." Here, I don't see anyone seeing through that. So, if you really want to know if somebody is knowledgeable or not, you need to understand the subtle truths of life, that the knowledge exists not in the way a person dresses, not in a way that person speaks, but essentially in the way he presents the knowledge in the most subtle way. If you look today, all the people talking about spirituality, they talk about something, it as if something which is sophisticated. They use jargons and all the sophisticated words to present the complexity. Then there are those who acts in a very rudimentary way and they say that I am like this because I have realized the knowledge. But what is knowledge and what is wisdom? How do we know if a person truly has a knowledge and is established in wisdom. The only way to know that is by realizing if or not that person has humility. As Ashtavakra says, and it is still popularly known to some of the people who know a bit of the Sanskrit, Vidya Dadati Vinayam. Knowledge is that which instills humility. If you do not have knowledge and if you wish to know knowledge, then you need to have humility. If you are having knowledge and established in wisdom, you still need to have humility. Without humility, nothing is attainable, because without humility, the arrogance comes in. And with the arrogance, we hurt people, we demean people, we show them that they are nothing and we are great. Such arrogance is of little to no use. Without humility, nothing is possible. In Ashtavakra Gita, 45-year-old accomplished king Janaka has had the humility to learn and to be counseled by a 13-year-old boy. And a 13-year-old boy had the humility to explain a great many things to the king in a way, having a distinct approach in a way he understands. There is no greater thing than knowledge and wisdom. And those who have accepted and understood that knowledge do not have misgivings about the world. Their mind is calm, because the knowledge of the self, or what we call as Atma Jnana, and Atma Jnana is not really spirituality, because spirituality is about the spirit. And spirit is a somatic concept where a person goes to heaven or hell depending upon the compliance to the commandments in those specific religious texts. Whereas Atma is a Vedic Sanskrit word which is made of two words, that is At, that is beyond, and Mana, that is mind. So if you understand the concept of Mana, that is mind, then you will need to understand the concept of At Mana, or that which is beyond the mind, which is not soul but the consciousness. And because Ashtavakra exemplarily explains this sophisticated concept in a very simple way, he gives a significant knowledge to any person in the domain of counseling. If you want to understand your problem, you need to understand who you are. You are neither this body, you're not that mind. If you wear this body, why is your body changing? Why is it that my body, which had greater hair, is now thinning? Why is it that this body, which was small, is now growing? Why do I see a sense of getting old? The body has changed since birth, in toddler, since teenage, in 20s, and now that I'm in 40s. Everything changes over a period of time. So what changes cannot be you. If you think you are the mind, you cannot be the mind, because the mind changes even faster than the body. Few years back, you may needed iPhone. Then you needed iPhone 5. Probably need an iPhone 7. So all the expectations of the mind changes. Ashtavakra says something beautiful about the mind. He says the mind can never be happy, because mind can respect something only at two given points in time. One, when it doesn't has it, and two, when it has lost it. So if you don't have $1 million today, you will appreciate having $1 million. But if you have $1 million, your mind will not really care much about that $1 million. But once you have lost that $1 million, then you will feel sad again. The same goes with relationships. If you don't have someone to love you, you will feel sad today. If you feel if you have someone to love you, you will not give much of a damn. But when that person who loves you is gone, you will regret not having that person. The understanding of the mind that Ashtavakra presents is phenomenal. The story of Ashtavakra, his life itself, has a great many perspectives to provide to us. Just because you are limited by the body doesn't mean you are limited by the mind. And if you understand the consciousness, all limitation of minds can be overcome. And another most important thing Ashtavakra also says is that the pain and pleasure are not in this body, it's only in the mind. The modern science wants us to believe that pain and pleasure are because of the chemical reactions in the brain and the mind. But then they cannot explain why a dead body, you know, take a dead body which is dead for like 10 minutes. It has all the brain, all the cells, and everything in its, in its structure. But still, it doesn't feel pleasure of pain. Why is it that? Because another thing what Ashtavakra says is that death is nothing but a permanent cessation of mind. And we don't need to fear death because we experience a semblance of death when we are in deep sleep. Now consider you are in deep sleep. You don't know who you are. You don't know where you are. Your mind is not dreaming. Your mind is not there. And yet you are in pure bliss. That is exactly the experience that we have when we are dead. And all this understanding of the mind can help us to solve a great many problems that we experience in the modern society today. And believe me, the modern society has any problem you take it, including something like diabetes and hypertension. They just have a simple fact that they come from the mind and not as much as the brain. Consider your mobile phone. Some of the apps, when you use them, your batteries are drained much faster. Such apps are not well done. In mind, if in your mind you have some flawed perspectives and truths, they can drain your whole body. They can stress your brain and then can bring in all these things like hypertension and diabetes and related disorders that come through as a part of it. There is no cure for hypertension and diabetes. It is only managed. Some people say that pharmaceutical companies are intentionally not bringing in solutions or medications for diabetics and hypertension. You cannot find a solution, permanent solution for hypertension and diabetics by medications because mind is intangible. You cannot touch it. Whatever you can do is for the body. You can sedate the brain. You can put the brain at sleep. All that thing is fine. But they do not solve the problem at the greatest level. The modern science, psychiatry, neuroscience, or your psychology do not understand a great many critical aspects which could be solved by just changing perspectives. Yogic counseling is not about medication, it is about realization of the flaws of perspectives that our mind develops over a period of time. Flawed ideas, flawed perspective, flawed ideologies. All these things bring in a lot of troubles in the mind, which then gets to the brain and then to the body. Which is why Charaka Samhita says, if your mind is happy and content, your body is healthy. And if your body is healthy, you can do everything good in life. But if your mind is not healthy, that is, it has all the flawed ideas, notions about truth and things like that, your body will be infested with stress and eventually with diseases. I hope you enjoyed this short video. Until next time, pranam and namaste.